news for the Nets. Kyrie Irving will undergo season-ending surgery on his right shoulder. The six-time All-Star played just 20 games in his first year in Brooklyn. So, Broussard, are you worried about Kyrie's future?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be worried, unfortunately. I'm glad he's out the rest of the season and getting the surgery because it's really all about next year anyway. Get he and Kevin Durant as healthy as they can be going into that season. But when you look at his history, he's only played 70 or more games 3 times in 9 seasons. We remember in college he was hurt. We only played 11 games at Duke. We remember in Summer League he was hurt, fractured his hand. Remember in the NBA Finals he got hurt in 2015 in Game 1 with the kneecap. He's going to be 28 next month. Usually players don't get more durable as they get older, especially after 9 seasons of wear and tear and a lot of deep playoff runs. So, yeah, it's a concern. I have no doubt that when he's on the court, he'll ball out. But how often is he going to be able to be on the court? I have to be concerned about it.
Well, to me, 2 of those injuries happened later in the season. The first year in Boston, he was there. Injury happened late. You mentioned the kneecap against Golden State in Game 1 of the Finals. So it's not just injuries that happen early in the season that you can come back from. There are also the accumulation injuries that even the seasons where he is healthy, there's going to be some type of injury bug around the corner. And if you're the Brooklyn Nets and you're trying to contend for a championship with Kyrie Irving as your second guy, and let's be honest, we don't know what Kevin Durant is really going to look like next season off of an Achilles. He's got to be 95% of the player that he was, too. So if you're going to have Kyrie as your second guy and Kevin Durant with a question mark, I've got a big-time question mark about the franchise and where they can go as a whole because Kyrie Irving is not someone that you can depend and rely on for 82 games.
All right, moving on to Kyrie's former teammate, LeBron James. No, I'm kidding.
My goodness,
Thanks, Vince.
Sarah had to move over inches away from you.
The King has his Lakers in first place in the West and on a mission to win the franchise, their first title in 10 years. But reigning Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard might have something to say about it. The King and the Claw could face off in an epic Western Conference Finals in May. But Lakers legend Magic Johnson thinks it might come down to the supporting cast.
If you look at man per man, they're probably better than us in terms of the bench. But I think that Anthony Davis and LeBron James, to me, are going to be the key. They're going to have to dominate in that series, and then we're going to need a third scorer.
Broussard, we've been talking about this since the off-season. We'll be talking about it through the rest of the season. Who wins between the Lakers and the Clippers in a 7-game series?
Well, I think Magic hit it on the head. The Clippers are certainly the deeper team. They're, I think, the better team. I would have them favored. Now, I don't think the Lakers can't beat them. I think the Clippers are favored. I would say maybe 65-35, something like that. But the Lakers have a shot, and Magic hit it on the head. I think a few things have to happen for the Lakers to beat them. It's possible. One, LeBron has to put on some type of heroic performance where you just kind of lift your team over a better team. He did it in 2016, coming down from the 3-1 deficit against Golden State. Can he do it at 35 years old? We'll see, but that's necessary. The second thing, and this is the big one to me, Anthony Davis has got to dominate that series. Because even as great as LeBron may be, Kawhi is going to be great, and Paul George is going to be great on the perimeter. They have nobody that really can match up with Anthony Davis. Now, Marcus Morris was a good get, and he can defend in the low post and, you know, probably defend him better than Kawhi and Paul George and Zubac and Montrezl Harrell. But still, AD should be able to have his way against whoever they put on him. The question is, does he have that mentality? And what is baffling me about the Lakers is that if you look at their numbers, now this number is going to shock you because it shocked me when I first found it out a few weeks ago. Anthony Davis is only averaging 5.5 minutes on the court in the fourth quarters. And it's not because they're blowing everybody out, because LeBron is playing 9 minutes a game in the fourth. It is because the way they stagger the minutes, they have AD play the whole third quarter and then sitting for bulks of the fourth. But he's only averaging 3 points in the fourth quarter. Of his 27, only 3 of them are coming in the fourth, and only 3 shots in the fourth quarter. So I think the second half of the season for the Lakers needs to be about, you got to change that rotation, first of all, and have AD playing most of the fourth quarter and feed him, even if it costs you some games. But get him used to being a go-to guy in the fourth. They did it a little against Denver before the All-Star break, and he looked good. He hit a three, played well. So I think that's something they got to work on. And the third thing, Magic mentioned them needing a third scorer, Kyle Kuzma. But get him better acclimated, get him more comfortable. And some of it's on him, too. But I think that needs to be a focus. Again, even if it costs you a few regular season games, I would focus on AD and Kyle Kuzma, getting them playoff ready.
Well, you brought up 2 points about getting AD and Kuzma involved in more primary focus as scorers. That takes away from LeBron being this hub that everything runs through. LeBron has to function as the main piece when you look at the on-off numbers. Anthony Davis, when the team runs through Anthony Davis, the on-off numbers are stark in the difference with Anthony Davis with LeBron without him. That's on coaching, and that's on how the structure of the team is, where LeBron is the point guard and everything runs through him. LeBron is going to have to take a step back.
Right.
If it's going to be that series against the Clippers where you got three guys that can defend them, not just Kawhi and Paul George, but Pat Beverly's going to get in his face and make things uncomfortable for him. So remember how Shaq and Kobe had those series where if you were playing against the Spurs, you knew Shaq wasn't going to dominate Duncan and Robinson. So it's going to be a Kobe series because he had the matchups. Right. If this is going to be the same thing, there has to be a stage where LeBron says, you know what, this isn't my series. And he's never actually had to do that in his career where he says, this isn't my series because the matchup doesn't lend to me being the dominant player. He's going to have to tell Anthony Davis, I'll take a step back, you go and dominate, but if you don't practice that in the regular season, how's that going to happen in the postseason? And when LeBron is in year 17 and he's never done that, what does that look like? So to me, the Lakers don't know what they want to be. The Clippers at least know what they want to be in a 7-game series as far as their toughness, their coaching, their structure, their order. The Lakers are still they're not pretenders, I'm not going to say that, but they're relying so heavily on just raw, natural talent and not necessarily structure and order.
I like your point about, like we both agree, AD needs to be dominant, it needs to be his series. But that doesn't mean, I don't know that means LeBron having to step back, because LeBron is the point guard. So as the point guard, it's part of his job, he's leading the league in assists, is to get the other guys involved.
It just has to go through it. It has to go through Anthony Davis.
He said that the offense is going to run through AD, which we can argue about whether it's doing that the first 3 quarters. It's clearly not doing that in the fourth. LeBron leads the league in fourth quarter field goal attempts. So they're looking at it as LeBron's, I guess, our closer. LeBron has closed many games. We all know that. But he doesn't have the mentality of a pure closer. That's why he'll pass it off, to an open teammate at times, whereas Kobe or Michael Jordan was going to go get that bucket. That's the mentality. Kyrie, mentality of a closer. I think the Clippers have more guys. Kawhi, Lou Williams, even Paul George.
I don't know if I trust Lou Williams down the stretch of games because of his shot, because of the shot selection. It can be very feast or famine.
I think he's a closer, though.
No, he's not afraid to take those shots.
That's where, my question comes to: who are you? Of course, you don't want to bet against LeBron James, but after that, you already mentioned you could toss Kawhi on him, you could toss Paul George on him. If you want to put Beverly on him, they got Marcus Morris now. You could toss bodies, different looks. Who else are you trusting on this Lakers roster other than Anthony Davis, and not necessarily being in that position before in the postseason? And you can go down, check off the list for the Clippers, whether it's Kawhi, whether it's Paul George, whether it's Montrezl Harrell and Lou Williams, with Pat Beverly. And there are so many players, even Morris, with experience. And I think the Clippers have another level that they even tapped into yet, that they're still waiting to go to. The Lakers have been playing full bore since the start of the season. They've gelled quickly. It's been impressive to see where they're at and the numbers they're at. Clippers right behind them, and they've got Kawhi Leonard load managing. Paul George hasn't played in all the games. Beverly's been hurt. I mean, they still, the coaching staff of Doc Rivers, and you got Sam Cassell and Tyronn Lue, and just all these players who understand the nuances of how to coach in the postseason together. I think we're going to see a very different Clippers team down the stretch and in the postseason.
Not to go Nick right on you guys, but are you betting against LeBron in the Game 7?
No, I just
if it gets to that,
if it gets to a Game 7, then I think the Lakers are in really good. They're in really good shape.
LeBron can get you a game. Kawhi can get you a series.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, look. I mean,
but it's not. But to me, it's
LeBron
not
can
just
get you a
Kawhi.
series,
That's why I
too.
think the Clippers. You look at the totality.
I don't know
of
if
the
he
team.
17 can get you a series anymore.
Oh yeah, he can get you a series. But I look. That's if the Lakers get them to Game 7. We know it's going to be a home game for the Lakers, whoever has the advantage.
That's the
I would. That'd be good for them because that means they've played them tough. They need to beat the Clippers once in the regular season, though.
Because that matters.
But
Clippers
I don't usually put a ton of credibility
right.
in the regular season, but mentally for them.
We'll get to this more coming up. Is Tom Brady about to